Hello everybody, we'll be with you in a minute. Please let me know where you're from, how long you've been playing the oud, all that kind of cool stuff. Hello, goodbye, hello, okay. That thing is working. Let me know in the chat how long you've been playing the oud for, where you're from. I'd love to know. Gonna do a little bit of playing. Today we're going to talk about the 5 golden techniques that I love to add to my oud playing. And these techniques you can learn in my Masterclass, the online oud learning program. And this weekend we have some bonuses that I'm throwing in when you enroll in the Masterclass this weekend only. We got a Aziza workshop where you can learn how to apply these techniques and other techniques to Muhammad Abdul Wahhab's famous composition Aziza. And also we have a bundle on a couple oud programs this weekend on Egyptian music volume 1, 5 songs in Egyptian music that you can learn. And this course also has a lot of the techniques that are included in that you'll learn in the Masterclass. So these 2 programs, the Masterclass and Egyptian music volume 1, you can get them at a discount when you buy them both and enroll in them this weekend only. Let me put the link in there in the chat so you can check that out. And we're going to get started in a few minutes. There you go. So yeah, let me know where you're from, how long you've been playing the oud. I'd love to hear from you. Hope that gave you some time to let me know where you're from, how long you've been playing the oud. Alrighty. Let's see here. Alright, hey Trevor. Alright. Okay, let's get into it. So I'm going to show you the 5 golden techniques today. In other words, what I mean by 5 golden techniques is I mean 5 ornaments and embellishments that you can add to your oud playing to spice things up. They're not essential, but they are the core 5 that I tend to add. There are lots of other techniques, of course, but these ones really they're learnable, and also they have some skill required. So there's something that you can train to do. Some things in oud playing kind of happen naturally as you just get over the years that you learn oud. But these 5 techniques are something that you can actually learn how to do, and you can practice, do exercises to play them and do them, and you can learn how to add them to different music. So that's what the masterclass is all about. So yeah, number 1 is tremolo. That's the first one that I tend to add. The second one is doubling up. The third one is bass note jumping. Number 4 is trills. And number 5 is hammer-on pull-off combinations. So let me play you a little example. I'm going to play you Samai Hijaz Kar Kurd by Tatios Effendi, the first khana and the taslim. And I'm going to play it once in a more of a sparser style, kind of like Hamza al-Din's playing. If you've ever heard Hamza al-Din's oud playing, he's very sparse. He doesn't add a lot of flashy things. He's not doesn't show off a lot. I really love that style. But when he does add a few of these techniques or embellishments or ornaments or like rhythmical fills, it sounds awesome. Then I'm going to play you a more mainstream Arabic style, perhaps inspired in some way by players like Simon Shaheen and Afif Tayan. So here it goes. Let's see here. So this is more of the sparser style playing. So that was very sparse, playing it just, the bare bones of the melody. And now a more aggressive style. So you can see there's a lot more happening there in that style. So yeah, let me get into the golden techniques and really what they are exactly. So tremolo. When it comes to tremolo, you need to play consistently. So tremolo is pretty obvious what tremolo is. It's this. It's really nice to play a very relaxed, easy tremolo. You don't have to play a blistering one like this. It sounds really nice to do a very relaxed tremolo too. The key to a nice relaxed tremolo, or any tremolo that you play, is that the strokes are even. So it's about building up that ability to do consistent strokes. It's not so much the speed that's important as building that consistency. So when you do practice tremolo, go for that consistency. The evenness between the strokes. It's not to say that tremolo has to be rhythmical. It's just that it needs to be smooth and fluid. So, that doesn't really matter. There's a difference there, but still, this speed of tremolo is quite pretty. Not too fast, and it's consistent. There's no, there's no stumbling along the way. So that's tremolo. Adding tremolo is really important to your oud playing, and it can fill up spaces where you don't want spaces. Like, for example, in that Samai, where was it? For example, here I want silence because it's the opening statement of the taslim. But later on, there's another pause. Here, I want this to be for the sound to continue for some reason. Somehow, because this is like this note, this cadence, it's the fourth degree of maqam kurd. Somehow, the next phrase that's coming on kind of calls me to continue this melody and keep it going. But that's not necessary either, but somehow that speaks to me, and I like to add tremolo in that spot. So we'll learn these kind of things in the masterclass, arranging these ornaments in different spots. Number 2, doubling up. So doubling up occurs when you take one note and you play the same note twice within the same space of time. So, for example, if you're playing a quarter note, you may do the same note in eighth notes. Or if you have eighth notes, you may turn those eighth notes into 16th notes and play it like that. So, for example, where did I have it here? So we've got, in the beginning of the taslim, we have... You could do it like this. Now another way of doubling up is, instead of playing the same note, you start this note that you start on, you add a 16th note, but the note is one note above. So it's instead of you play, you embellish the melody that way. So that's another form of doubling up, which you can also learn in the masterclass. And bass note jumping is where you play two notes of in the same space of time, just like doubling up, but one note is an octave apart. So usually it's the bass note supporting the top melody line. So for example, in that same part of the taslim, you've got that bass note supporting and adding a lot of support and beef to the notes, and it also sounds more interesting that way. So that's bass note jumping. Sometimes bass note jumping happens after. Sometimes we do either the bass note first. Sometimes you can also do the bass note after. Sometimes that happens in taqsim a lot, Number 4 is trills. Trills are so important and fun to play as well. There's two types of trills that I like to differentiate between. One trill is where you only do one stroke with the right hand. So let's say you gotta work on that finger dexterity, doing that, where you only do one stroke. The other tremolo is where you add tremolo with it. So both these are useful because one is a little bit lighter in dynamics and the other is very strong in dynamics and can add a lot of kind of a lot of energy and aggression to the playing. So that's trills. I'll show you a part where I do that. There's the third measure of the khana of taslim. Sorry. This is very nice to add that trill there. And sometimes I like to switch it up. Sometimes I like to add the trill without the tremolo. Sometimes I like to add the tremolo if I want to really build the energy. So here we go. It sounds like this. So yeah, that is tremolo, trill, and all that kind of stuff. Now, next one we have is the hardest one. These are the most difficult ornaments to learn and to teach because they're so it's all based on context and the notes and the piece that you're playing. So this is hammer-on pull-off combinations. You know, these parts where you're doing a lot of quick little movements in a short space of time, kind of like grace notes, like this or like this. You know, one note above. This is kind of like trills, but when you start adding more notes or you start doing more complicated things, I call them hammer-on pull-off combinations. And you learn some in the masterclass as well. But these ones take the longest to really learn because you gotta listen to a lot of oud players, or you gotta get exposed to them in different contexts, and then you start to kind of bring them into your own playing. There's one part in this Samai which I really like to add. In the first khana, we've got this is a little one. So I add that. The main melody goes like this, but I add. So those are little I call them hammer-on pull-off combinations, but it's more like it can be described in other ways as well. But you could do them in more of like hammer-on style if you don't want to do it so aggressive. You don't want to add all the strokes with the right hand. You can do it like this. And just doing less strokes, a little bit less energy goes into it with the right hand, so you can, you know, save your energy. I like to usually stroke that main note, F or Fa, like that. So that's how it works there. Downstroke on F, pinky goes up, pulls off, hammers on E or Mi, and then stroke on F. So that's a hammer-on pull-off combination that I like to employ in this piece. So what is the Masterclass? The Masterclass is an online oud learning program where I take this famous piece, Samai Bayati al-Aryan, an Egyptian piece. It's an instrumental. And you learn this song with ornaments and embellishments. It's not a very difficult Samai, so it has all the other characteristics that other Samai have. So it's really nice to use this as a framework to show you how to add techniques and embellishments and ornaments to this that you can then apply to other Samai instrumentals and other, you know, oud playing. If you're not familiar with the Samai instrumental form, it's an Ottoman musical form that made its way into Arabic music, it's characterized by some different sections. So you have a first melody, Khana 1, or Hane, pronounced in Turkish. Hane means house or place, and it comes from Farsi, I believe. And then, so this is like the introductory melody. Then taslim is like a refrain. Taslim is the part that keeps on getting repeated throughout the piece. So you have Hane 1, Taslim, then you have Hane 2, which is could be a modulation to another maqam, another melody. Then it goes back to the Taslim and you hear that again. Then you have Hane 3, which may go to the higher octave usually and may do a modulation or may stay in the main maqam. And then it goes back to Taslim again. And then Hane 4 is usually a modulation in the rhythm. Usually there will be like a 3 rhythm or a 6 rhythm. And the rhythm will change. The maqam may change as well. It may show themes that are happening, melodic themes that are happening in the previous parts of the Samai. And then it goes back to the Taslim and finishes. So that's the Samai Ottoman form. So once you learn the basic ideas, you can then pick and choose, how you want to apply these ornaments to other pieces. So all the details of the masterclass are here. Let me put it in the chat for you. There it is again. And so yeah, there's some limited time bonuses that I'm throwing in only this weekend. There's a free online workshop bonus. Anyone who enrolls in any of the courses at that link that I sent in the chat is welcome to participate. There will be 2 workshops, one for American time zones and one for your Asian time zones. And these will be in late August. We're going to look at some more, maybe a bit more challenging ways of adding these ornaments to a really well-known piece called Aziza. And that'll be sometime in late August. Of course, depending on who's enrolled and all that, we'll decide times and all that kind of thing then, and I'll send emails to you. Also this weekend only, I have a bundle which includes the Masterclass and my other course, Egyptian Music Volume 1. Egyptian Music Volume 1, you learn 5 songs that are from the Egyptian tradition. And they're both like intermediate level courses. And many of the ornaments and embellishments and techniques you learn in the Masterclass are also applied in the 5 songs in the Egyptian music course. So when you buy these 2 courses this weekend only, you save $49. And all these offers end Sunday at midnight Western Pacific time. So I hope you check it out and let me know if you have any questions about learning the oud, adding these techniques, all this kind of stuff. Let me know right now in the chat and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. You can feel free to ask me anything. All right. Thanks so much, guys. Right. Thanks for letting me know where you are. Hi, Carol. Nice to see you again. Trevor, good to see you. Yara, nice to see you again, too. Thanks for always showing up on these lives. It's always great to see you. All right. Okay, if there's no questions, then I'm gonna get out of here. Yeah, but if you have some burning questions that you want to ask, now's the time. I'm all yours. Is Simon a nice guy? Which Simon are you talking about? Do we know this? Do we mutually know this guy? Hi, Robert. Nice to see you. I think I know which Simon you're talking about, perhaps. Simon Shaheen, yes. Yeah, he's a nice guy. Yeah. Any other questions? It's getting quite sweaty here, so sometimes I like to wear a little guard on my wrist here to protect my oud. I've been playing this oud for 3 years now, and it's an awesome oud. I really enjoy playing this one. I'm noticing though, like as there's this little protective guard here, with the moisture and the humidity, I noticed that it's starting to shift a little bit, this area here, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, hopefully that stays in place. This is just like a little piece of laminate it doesn't interfere too much with the vibrations of the sound. Some luthiers, if you pay them extra, they'll build you like a little armrest, a little piece of wood that goes on, that attaches to the bowl here, and it actually doesn't touch the soundboard either. That little piece of wood that goes up there, and it'll protect from the moisture in your body affecting the wood and stuff. Yeah. Will I ever come to London? Which London? There's London, Ontario, Canada. There's London, UK. There's... Where else is there, London? I'm assuming UK. London, yeah, I'd love to come to London, but right now I have no plans to travel. It's too much of a headache right now. Yeah, I'd love to see London. I'd love to do a whole tour of the British, the UK, and also Ireland. Which app is best to use to tune the oud? The best app to use to tune the oud is right up here. Right up here. But if you have to use a digital tuner, anyone will work. Any chromatic tuner. Just download a chromatic tuner. Chromatic is like this. Chromatic tuner. Yeah, so chromatic. Any chromatic tuner will work. But yeah. All right. Any general tips for how to amplify an oud at live performances? That is a tricky one. It really depends on the space too. Yeah, that's a tricky one. I've only used an amplifier a few times at performances. The best way to amplify an oud, I think, is to go through the house stuff. But the nice thing about having an amp is that you can tweak your sound a little bit. Just make sure that you're not causing feedback. That it may not happen with an amplifier, but if you're depending on the mic setup that you have, if you're too close to your amplifier, that might cause problems with feedback. So you just gotta avoid that. I haven't used an amp with the oud for years now. It's been many years, so you just gotta make sure to avoid feedback. And also, depending on the room that you have, it may be beneficial to focus on the middle frequencies and some of the higher frequencies if you need to project more. Low bass frequencies are not going to be so useful in in amplified setting, especially if you want to project and you want to be heard. Focus a little bit on the middle and high frequencies. Tweak those. Cut out some of the mucky, muddy low frequency. You don't want too much of that. That's what I would recommend. But this is really like, I'm not a sound guy, and I don't have so much experience with tweaking the sound. I'm still learning myself. But that's what I would do. Any advice for the beginner? Yeah, practice a little bit every day. Consistent practice is good, and also if you need to take a day off, take one day off a week. It does help to just take some time off and get away from the oud, get away from the instrument. You come back a little bit more fresh after one day off too. How many hours do I play a day? Now let me add something about advice for the beginner. Use your ear, develop your ear, sing melodies that you hear. Try to copy with your voice. That's the best way to really start to absorb this music. Using your ear, using your voice is the most important thing. The most important tip I have for beginners, aside from the physical stuff. Physical things, try to start with the right technique and the right habits. If you need to get the right habits, then I have a free course that you can sign up for. If you're haven't already tried it out, I'll type it in the chat here. So this will get you started on the right footing. So yeah, those are the biggest tips I have for beginners. How many hours do I play a day? It depends on various things. As I get older, I find that I can play longer and longer. Like if you give me a free day, I may play the whole day, as long as my body's not fighting me back. Yeah, I can play a long time now, and also it depends on different factors. If I've got work to do for teaching and stuff like that, then I can't fit much time in. So yeah, it depends. But I find as I get older, I am able to play and focus for very long. Like there's so many things that are very interesting about learning more and learning more music. Like I never get bored anymore. But when I was younger, I couldn't focus for that long. So I'm appreciating my my age, being in my mid-late 30s now. I'm able to focus more, and I find playing the oud very interesting, and I never get bored. So that's lucky. But if you can develop that focus, be patient with yourself. Take breaks. You don't want to play yourself into getting your body to fight you back too much. Take breaks. That's important when you're playing a long time. Let's see here. Are there any specific maqams for Sephardic music? Maqam Hijaz I hear a lot. This. I hear that a lot. Maybe Maqam Kurd, which what I was playing earlier. Those tend to be featured quite a lot. I don't know Sephardic music too much. But yeah, what maqam do you prefer between Arabic and Turkish? Good question. What maqam do I prefer, Arabic and Turkish? Do you mean like which maqams I prefer, the Arabic style of playing or the Turkish style of playing? If you want to clarify, go ahead. Or do you mean like if there's one maqam in Arabic music that I like and one maqam in Turkish music that I like? Days when I'm not connected to or I don't want to play the oud. Yeah. I do get times where like I actually hate this instrument. I'm very frustrated with this instrument and like I can't stand it. And part of that I think comes from the type of music that I grew up playing is Persian music. And Persian music, the vibe is completely different than Arabic music and Turkish music. Turkish music has more similarities, I feel, to Persian music. But the Persian aesthetic is very sparse melodies. And we require a lot of sustain in the instrument. And so sometimes there's some days where the instrument's just not doing that for me. Could be because of the humidity, sometimes dry environment. If it's too dry, sometimes the instrument doesn't sing. I notice like when it's a bit higher humidity, my ouds sound really nice and they sound a little bit better to me. Whereas like the Persian instruments like tar, kamanche, they have a skin resin and they tend to sound bad in high humidity because the skin is loose. So there are days where I'm just not feeling it, and maybe I need to take a break, stop playing, do something else, live life, whatever. So I do get times like that. But yeah, it may be just because I'm having an off day, who knows. But there are some days where I'm just not feeling anything that I'm doing. I'm not enjoying it at all, and it can be frustrating. But yeah, sometimes there are some days where I just hate what's happening, or I hate how I'm playing or how the oud is sounding, or I'm not able to get what I want out of it. Let's see here. All right. So Arabic style and Turkish style maqams. Arabic style, I really like maqam bayat or bayati in the Arabic style. I really like that. I like that opposed to the way that the Turks play bayati or oshak. In Arabic music, maqam bayat kind of encompasses a lot of some of the ways that Turkish music plays their maqams. In Turkish music, they have two maqams, oshak and bayat, and these two develop a little bit differently, focus on different areas. In Arabic music, maqam bayat kind of encompasses those two, and they play them, a certain way. So I enjoy that. In Turkish music, I really enjoy some of the subtleties. For example, some of the minor subtleties between like maqam Humayun in Turkish music and maqam Hijaz. These are kind of different sections. They may use different similar parts of the scale or the jins, the tetrachords, but they focus on different areas, and I really like that about Turkish music, where it's more similar to Persian music, where we differentiate between different niches, melodic niches that happening in the music, and I really like that complexity or that deepness of Turkish music, where maqams can focus on different parts of the melody in the diatonic scale. All right, I'm glad you enjoyed that video. Thanks so much. It means a lot. So yeah, if there's no more questions, I'm gonna head out. So thanks so much for joining me today. Again, check out any of the courses that I've linked to in the chat. Check out the free course as well. Check out the links in the descriptions. Heads up for what's coming next. Got another maqam video that I still need to finish editing. We've got an interview with a luthier, John Vergara, coming up in the next few weeks. And then I've got another luthier that I've got lined up, a Persian luthier, so this is going to be very exciting. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to my newsletter list. You can sign up by going to that link in the chat, this OudforGuitarists.com/free course. Check that out. And also, what else we got going on? We've got some collaboration happening with Taksim. That's another YouTube channel. More information about that coming up, so make sure you subscribe. I'll provide more details in my newsletter about that and all kinds of things. So cool stuff happening. We're going to be lining up a lot of interviews, hopefully. People have been really nice to be willing to get on an interview with me. So it's going to be really cool stuff happening. All right, so thanks so much. Have a good rest of your evening, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.